Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Flipping Junkie podcast. It's been a while. So it's been several months, I think, since I've had an episode on here, but I'm telling you, I'm going to be a lot more consistent with it again and getting fired up about it again because, to be honest, I kind of got, busy making progress, but in my businesses, but feeling like that progress wasn't really directed in the right direction, right? It was too vague as to where I was going with what I was doing. And, honestly, I got a little bit burned out there. So that's what I want to talk about today. It's just going to be a quick talk with me and what I've been kind of up to and the insights that I've gotten recently, getting fired up again about, what I'm doing and what that looked like, what it did, because it goes back to, even the flipping business early on in my real estate investing business, hitting those valleys of just feeling like, like working really, really hard and making progress, but it not seeming to be very gratifying. Like I'm getting a lot done, but it didn't feel like I was really getting closer to where I wanted to be, if that makes any sense. It was almost like pushing through and willing and working hard through willpower, but not feeling the energy and the motivation and the excitement of the business like it was when I first got into it. And maybe you're feeling that way too. If you are, hopefully what I talk about today in this episode will help you out, because it's truly helped me out. And, I'm just going through that again right now. And so it's real fresh. So I really want to talk about, what made the change in my flipping business early on, real estate investing business, and now in my software business, and what's got me fired up again and excited about like what I'm doing every day, making progress towards where I'm wanting to go. And it feels really good. And it's really getting me going. So I want to share that with everybody listening, and hopefully it'll help somebody out there if you're listening and you feel like, like you set yearly and quarterly goals only to watch those change within like the first couple of weeks. And that might be something that's very fresh right now because we just started the new year not too many months ago into the second quarter now. And, if you're not even looking at your annual goals anymore that you just set for 2022, or you're not, you haven't set your quarterly yet, maybe this talk will help you get to where you're doing that. So the first question I want to ask that's really relevant to this is, do you have a vision for what your company and your life is going to look like? Do you have a vision for what your company and your life is going to look like? Everything hinges on that. Everything that I'll be talking about today hinges on that. And I'll get into that, dig into it in a little bit more detail. But really consider that. Take some time to really consider, do I have a clear vision for what my company, not only the company business, but your life to look like? Okay. So I'm going to start with the story of when this all happened for me back in the real estate investing business. So we were at a place, we were generating a good amount of deals per year. We were doing really pretty well, but the business was basically built on in order to grow, we needed more leads. We just had to keep cranking. We need more leads, we need more leads. And we had to work really hard to do that. And at that time, it was just my partner and I doing the entire business, wearing all the hats and generating all those leads. And there was a lot of inefficiencies in there. There was, there wasn't a clear goal of what we were trying to accomplish profit-wise, business-wise. And really what that resulted in was this whole just wanting more. And maybe that resonates with you. Maybe you're just like, I just need to grow this and then I'll figure it out, right? It'll take care of itself if I just get enough deals with enough profit to then, work itself out to where I've got the lifestyle that I want and all that kind of stuff. You probably see where I'm going with that, right? So we were at a point, and at one point where we were doing it took 45 qualified leads. These are motivated sellers that were saying, hey, make an offer on my house, to get each deal. So it took us 45 of those leads to get us a deal at that point in the business where it was pretty inefficient. We didn't have a clear vision of what we wanted the business to look like. We didn't know, we were just working, right? We were working hard, saying, as soon as we get to this point, it's going to work itself out. We'll get it figured out. Okay. So we were there doing that for a while, for many years, actually, right? And doing more and more, but getting more and more burned out. Okay. We eventually got to the point, though, where we got to it, where it only took 5 leads to get a deal. So from 45 leads to deal, to the point where we got 5 leads to get a deal. And that really completely created a lifestyle shift that allowed us to do so much more. And it really changed things, but we had to have that vision of what we wanted the company to look like to get there. And this also required a mindset shift, right? Because, as a mentor of mine in life and in business tells me all the time, you can't get there from there. You cannot get there from there, meaning you've got beliefs, right? You've got beliefs that need to change. There's a mindset shift needed to change, because where you're at is not going to allow you to get to where you're going without that. And so it's really important. If you want to learn more about the specifics of what we did exactly to go from that 45 leads per deal to 5 leads per deal, and how we broke that down and actually did that, it'd be a whole podcast when it's probably several, like a series, and maybe I'll do that. But for now, I decided to put on a live workshop. So this will be a Zoom call, a live workshop. And I'd love for you to join me if you're listening to this right now. Even if you're listening to this episode and it's been out for several months, I still want you guys to go to this URL, because I'm going to be doing this probably every 2 weeks, maybe every week eventually. But I want to put on this workshop because it really helped us transform our business and get those insights that helped us go from 45 leads to a deal to 5 leads per deal, because that created that lifestyle shift, but required a mindset shift that I want to help you get to as well if you have not already made it. You can register for free over at forefrontcrm.com/workshop. So that's forefrontcrm.com/workshop. forefrontcrm.com/workshop. Register for free. I'd love to see you on that workshop, on that Zoom call, and learn those things. I love sharing that stuff because it was huge. It was pivotal in my business and in my business growth and my growth as a business owner and a leader. So it's awesome. I'm looking forward to share it with you guys. So head over to forefrontcrm.com/workshop and register for that, and we'll see you on that. All right. If you're listening to this right when this episode comes out, that's next Tuesday. So just a little less than a week. But like I said, I'll be continuing to do that. So there'll be a date on that website if it's another date from that date. All right. Awesome. See you guys there. So if you want to pause this, go to do that and then come right back. That'd be great. All right. So with that shift, right, with the shift of getting clarity that I'll be talking about during the workshop and having the vision for the company and then executing on that, creating that difference, which I'll be also covering right now a little bit with what I'm doing, what happened in the software company where it's really helped. What that allowed me to do was to have the time, because I was no longer working on all those things and working so hard because we didn't need to generate so many leads to get a deal. So it became a lot less work, right? More profit, less work, all that kind of good stuff, what everybody really wants. And that gave me the freedom to really work on another passion of mine, which was a software company. First with Lead Propeller. I know many of you are customers of Lead Propeller. That's awesome. But now with Forefront CRM. Forefront CRM is our CRM software. And that big shift in that real estate investing business allowed me to go into working on those things, which is a big passion of mine. I love software. I love figuring out solutions to things and making just making it better and always working on that. So, but over time now, I've ended up feeling the same with the software business as I had with the flipping business. I'd fallen into the same exact trap where there was kind of a vague idea. If I want to create this, right, I want to create this amazing CRM system, which we already have, and it's already out and all that kind of stuff. We've had it out for years, but it was just a vague idea, right? Of like, what exactly is this going to be besides an awesome CRM system, right? There has to be some bigger idea here. I just lacked the vision, right? I just lacked the clear vision of what I wanted that to be. And again, just like in the flipping business, I was just working hard saying, well, as soon as I get more success in this, it'll make itself clear. It'll just make itself clear. I'll figure it out as I go, which I think in the very beginning of any business probably is necessary to get the ball rolling in the business. But after a little bit of time, after you've gotten that point of, okay, we figured out the steps that we need to take as far as every business needs the marketing, right? You need to be generating leads and doing some deals and all that kind of stuff, right? But you need the vision of where you want that eventually to go, right? And not just the business itself, but your life, because how you want your life to be is going to dictate what you want your business to be like as well. And you're part in that business. And so that's what I want to talk about right now. It gets into the story that I used to tell, and I forgot where I heard this, but it was basically, like where, you've got a whole team of foresters or whatever, and lumberjacks, and you're in this forest cutting down these trees. Everybody's working their butts off and falling trees left and right, right? Well, then somebody climbs one tree and looks out over the forest and says, "Oh my gosh, we're in the wrong forest," right? So you're working. Everybody's really working hard, but they didn't realize that they were working in the wrong forest, right? So they made some progress, but it wasn't the right progress. And that required having that vision, right? It's that same thing of taking time to climb that tree and look out and say, man, is this really, going in the direction of what I want in my life, in my business? And in clear terms, you've got to really look out there, look out there 20 years from now, right? 20 years from now, what do I want my life to look like? How do I want to be operating my business? What do I want my business to look like? And then come in and do that again 10 years, right? 10 years from now, what do I want these things to look like? And they should be putting you on that path to the 20-year, right? You have to be real honest about, is me being what I'm saying I want at 10 years on the path to what I want in 20 years, right? And then come into 5 years and do the same thing. 5 years ought to be a little bit more detailed, right? Because it's not that far out, but it also needs to be on the path to the 10-year. And if you've not done this exercise, who is it? Frank Kern, a marketer, I had seen a talk that he did years ago where he talked about your perfect average day. And, just like you write down, when I wake up, I'm here, sense, what you see, who you're with, what it's like, and what your day is like, right? Walk through that day, really imagine that day, and what do you want it to look like? And when he said it, it's your perfect average day, because you can't just say, well, I'm going to go out and have a bunch of fun all day long, because it's not, like oh, I'm going to sit on the beach from 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock, and then I'm going to go to a bar for a little bit or something. I mean, you just can't have that. That's going to get old really quick. So it's like, what realistically is a good day in your life in 20 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now? And then Brandon Turner told me to get this book called Vivid Vision several years ago, and I did. It's a very quick read. So if you're not a reader, I think that this is still like, you will want to read this book, because it's really quick, easy, and kind of gives you some guidelines to mapping out in vivid detail what you want your life to look like. Okay. I've said this before. If you listen to the podcast a long time, you've probably heard this before, talking about vivid vision, setting what you want your business to look like, and all that kind of good stuff. But what's new that I haven't said before is, anytime I had been asked to map out 20 years or even 10 years, I don't know that I really did it. If I did, it was super quick, and just, I didn't really take much time to really consider, because I was of the mindset of, things change so fast. I have no idea what I'm going to want in 20 years. I have no idea. It's kind of a waste of time for me, to consider what that looks like when I have no idea. Really, what that was just a cop out, not to try to take the time and really figure out what I wanted, right? And sometimes we do this when we're caught up in, our family, our business, our community, the things that we're doing. We do tend, I didn't plan on talking about this, but it's just coming up. We do tend to really think about, well, I'm doing all this for my family, for my business, for my team, all this kind of stuff. But you really got to consider what you want yourself, right? Because if you're doing always things for other people, which is great, and I'm not saying don't do that, but make sure that you take the time to understand what you want, right? What in your life are you not clear on, what you yourself want for you? Okay. And so maybe that is one reason why I didn't actually write down those 20 or 10 year. But now I've got a new mentor in the software business. Great guy. He's exactly where I want to be and what I want my company to look like. He's kind of achieved that. And so it's awesome that we're working together. Super grateful for him. And, one of the first exercises that we had is, he told me, write out the 20 year, 10 year, and 5 year. and then we'll go from there. And so I went ahead and did this, and it was pretty eye-opening because it was worth it to take the time. And maybe I'm just at a place where I was better able to see what I want for me as well, which has been great. So hopefully you have that experience. And I encourage you to get Vivid Vision. You can get it on Amazon. I think you could probably read it within, an hour. I think if you get the audio, maybe it's only like 30-minute audio or something, but it's a real quick thing. I encourage you to do it. And then take the time, go somewhere quiet, go somewhere where you've got several hours where you can really consider this kind of thing. And don't feel like it's going to be set in stone. Like, you got to have it nailed down, and you don't want it to ever change. It probably will change over time, but you got to have that destination planned out so that you can make decisions right now on what you're doing, because you're going to go 20-year, 10-year, 5-year. And what that did was made it so that my planning for 3 years from now, and then 1 year from now, and then my quarterly goals for this year are aligned with those longer term goals, right? So if I set something for 5 years, my 3-year might change if I hadn't had that 5-year plan there. Because if I want to be at a certain point in my business where I'm only doing vision, right? I'm working vision of the company, not strategy, then I'm going to have somebody in place at a certain time in between them to facilitate that, to make that happen, right? So it really shows you by setting those goals, and then even financial and metrics that you want for some of those shorter years, like the 1 year, the 3 year, the 5 years, you can do that. You're going to have to get realistic on what it's going to take to get to that kind of revenue profit for your business, right? That's going to dictate sort of some of the things that you need to be thinking about now for long-term planning, for actual long-term getting to where you want to be. And I think that's really what was missing a lot for me, was, making those decisions now to prioritize certain things that I wouldn't think was even necessary this early on, is now becoming clear that I need to kind of plan for those things now so that I can get to that place. Because if I didn't have that, it would probably just be more of the same. 3 years from now, I'd probably be in the same place, doing more of the same, because I didn't have that vision that was guiding me, that was helping me plan right now, this quarter, for this year, for 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year. All right. So it also made me feel like everything I was doing is moving in that right direction that I really wanted. So now every day it's kind of like, okay, well, I know that for this quarter, I need to get these things done, and this week. And I'm not a real rigid guy. I cannot stand, time blocking, stuff like that does not work for me. It's not good for me. I don't feel good, does not energize me. But having those quarterly things and then making progress towards them, because I know they're aligned with all of these other longer term goals, it feels good. I feel motivated, energized, because I'm not wasting energy. I'm not doing things that I'm not sure about making a difference, right? Or just doing more of the same instead of working on the bigger dominoes instead of all the little ones, right? Knock over that giant domino that knocks over all the rest. And so that's what it did for me and is doing for me. And I hope that it can do the same for you. And that gives me energy to be creative, which is awesome, because now I'm looking longer term, which I'm telling you, these ideas are just coming, right? Like this, the creativity is back. And that for me is the fun part of business, creating, having that creativity be there, because, to get to this other point, now all of a sudden I've got these bigger ideas, and that created that mindset shift. Like my other mentor, you can't get there from there. And so now with this vision, and then, having that planning that's coming from a different angle, from a different perspective of the longer term stuff, that creativity is coming in. So it's incredibly powerful, incredibly awesome. And so this has been good. I really enjoyed doing this. So be more from me on the podcast, be regular again. And I'll be having some interviews, but I want to do a lot of these things about things that I'm learning, things that I'm doing in my business, to help you also, hopefully, with anything that resonates with you that you might be experiencing as we go along. I love sharing that kind of stuff. All right. So we'll go ahead and end out the podcast here. Like I said, I'm doing that workshop. I'd love for you to join me to look at how we went from 45 leads per deal to get a deal to 5 leads to get a deal, and what that did for a big change in the business and that mindset shift that was required for that. So join me for that. forefrontcrm.com/workshop, forefrontcrm.com/workshop, one word, workshop. WORKSHOP. We'd love to see you there. Have a great week, everybody. I'll talk to you next time.